Welcome back to Fixing My Faith. I'm the host, Vern Houle. And today's poem is called What Is Next? I wrote this because when I left the Jehovah's Witness organization in 2012, I wondered what was next. And so I went to the Bible for some answers. And I went to the book of Revelation, chapter 11. And I went to verse 18. And we'll talk about that at the end. But I consulted that, and it helped me to examine my life and think, what am I doing, right now? And so I started to get into green energy. I started to study and get into green energy. Today I'm in green energy. I use green energy. And it gave me a passion, something to focus on. And since then I've helped many others, even some Jehovah's Witnesses, to learn green energy, learn how to put a solar system in. And it's quite fun. But this is what is next, and it's when you leave the organization, you're shunned, you're disfellowshipped, whatever the situation. It's very lonely, and because you have no worldly acquaintances, you've shunned them all your life. Everyone in the organization shuns you, so you're all alone. It's just you. That's what I found. I was in that situation. It was just me, and me with my thoughts. And you could have people around you, but you can't necessarily share your thoughts with those people because maybe they won't understand. And maybe you don't understand at that point, like I didn't understand for 10 years. To this point, this is 10 years later, I didn't understand. It was just 6 months ago I started to recognize that I wasn't in the truth. So this is to the governing body again. It's a poem. It's how I felt when you're shunned for whatever. I was shunned for no reason. I just, I invested everything into the organization. So here it is. What is next is a poem to help us move on. Our last little bit of life seems like a con. That's how I felt. We can become disgusted and never look at religion, become downhearted and lose all of our vision. I felt like that. I did that for a while. He says, all I need is a tiny bit of faith. I will move all your mountains and offer you escape. I ask God, what is next? I ask God, how do I move forward? I ask God, do I forget? I'm now in a world with no one but God. My worldly acquaintances treat me as odd. I'm drifting about like waves of the sea. I so often wonder what life is to be. God, my parents have shunned me. God, my children have shunned me. God, my friends have shunned me. God, have you shunned me? I keep praying to God, but does he really hear? Have I lost his favor? Is he no longer near? Please listen, my dear one, my little one, my child. I am always here. Sometimes it will take a while. I have to watch carefully to all of your tries. You will feel my love as I answer your cries. You will feel my grace as I answer your whys. You will feel my power as I become your watchtower. You will know I am near, Mother Earth you will hear. She will tell you a story as you walk on the earth. You will see all the trees and all of her worth. You will want to keep living in a paradise on earth. You will clean up your act and quit ordering print. You will quit using gasoline to start making a dent. In helping the planet to breathe just another day, God will offer you yet another way. He says, all I need is a tiny bit of faith. I will move all of your mountains and offer you escape. I am always here. Sometimes it will take a while. I have to watch carefully to all of your tries. You will feel my love as I answer your cries. You will feel my grace as I answer your whys. You will feel my power as I become your watchtower. So that's how I felt all those years, 10 years. I just had a relationship with Jehovah God. And I didn't really know that Jehovah's real name was Yahweh at the time, but it doesn't matter. Jehovah works. It's God knows I'm talking to him. And just because I've learned that name and I use it, it doesn't make it bad. And just because Jehovah's Witnesses use it doesn't mean they own it. So we keep talking to God, and we just have a little bit of faith. And I talk about cleaning up our act, quit ordering print, and quit using gasoline. And I dedicate a part of my book to green energy, and I'm talking to the 8 at the governing body. And when you look at it, I examined what I did in the last 30 years of being in the faith. And I give 10-year examples in the book. But the millions and millions of trees being knocked down to print 83 million Watchtower in the Awakes each month is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. The earth can't handle this destruction of our planet over the Watchtower and the Awake, over false propaganda. And that's got to stop right away. In fact, I took it very seriously, and I looked at the scripture in Revelation 11 and verse 18, and it says, "But the nations became wrathful, and your own wrath came, and the appointed times for the dead to be judged, and to give their reward to your slaves, the prophets, and to the holy ones, and to those fearing your name, and the small and the great, and to those bring to ruin those ruining the earth." So this is God speaking to the nations, and this is a time that's coming, and maybe I'm being a little bit of a Jehovah's Witness here, sending that back to you guys. But I'll tell you, the amount of trees that are knocked down by the Watchtower organization. Did you know, statistically, the Watchtower organization is #1 on the list for the top carbon producers per member out of any other religious organization on earth? And that's because I was territory servant most of my life, and we travel so much. In our winter climates, we leave our cars idle all winter as people go in and out of the car every 10 minutes, doing a few calls in the door-to-door ministry. We try to hit our doors every 3 months. So could you imagine the carbon all over the world just from Jehovah's Witnesses doing that? It was nothing for me to drop $500 into my gas tank every month just for the preaching work. You know, I was pioneering, and they'd use my car a lot and pack it full. I had a 7-passenger. So you could imagine if a lot of other pioneers are doing that, and everyone's out there contributing, it adds up. It adds up. And then in the warmer climates, everyone has to leave their cars run all day to keep the air conditionings running, because same thing is 40 below out, or 40 Celsius outside. And you can only handle the heat for a little while, so you're back and forth into an air-conditioned car. And this is what happens. So the amount of gasoline that's going in the atmosphere from Jehovah's Witness preaching work is just phenomenal, just phenomenal. And we're not even talking the shipping containers, the dual mail routes. You see, all of our countries have a mail route, but Jehovah's Witnesses have a dual mail route because Armageddon's coming, and they've got to be set up for all of this. So they have semi-trucks running up and down Canada's highways, and they have Kingdom Halls. There's 120,000 of them in the world, and you have all this happening. There's lots of diesel. Then you guys have to go to the Kingdom Hall and pick your magazines up. You start your car, go to the Kingdom Hall. Where I live, you had to drive miles to go to the Kingdom Hall. It's kind of out in the country, and it's just a lot of fuel. And as a society sells more of their buildings because they're needing that money for other things, then that means the brothers and sisters have to drive even farther to the Kingdom Hall, polluting the earth even more with the gasoline that's going into the atmosphere because of these meetings each week. So in my book, I talk about Jesus coming in the cloud, and the internet now affords us the opportunity to not even leave our home. And many people are deciding they're not going to leave their home to even to work, to go into an office to save on contributing pollution. Even with COVID now, the universe has stopped meetings, and so Jehovah's Witnesses realize they can do this on Zoom, and they don't have to travel to meetings, and they realize that they can do things electronically. The only fear that the governing body has is that the Jehovah's Witnesses will learn the real truth. And if I'm saying that correctly, that would mean you brothers are hiding the real truth, that you know the real truth, that you actually are conscious, but you're just trying to live out your last days here. And all you guys are getting really old, and maybe you need some new blood in there. Switch this organizer around and teach the real truth. This is my recommendation, because now in front of Jehovah, you carry a huge liability. And when you look at the scripture in Revelation, you're the #1 organization on earth for pollution. Jehovah said he's going to bring to ruin those ruining the earth. It's a very powerful statement, and it's not mine. I'm giving this back to you. And on those notes, friends, I will leave it at that. Keep helping the planet, friends. If you're going to keep going out in the ministry, think about buying an electric car and doing it green. But then buying an electric car doesn't solve it all either, because what if the utility you're hooking up to charging this is coal energy? It's still dirty energy. So my advice is to minimize. What's with all this door-to-door campaigning anyways? Shut that down. That was Rutherford's sales. It was a sales trick. He was into encyclopedia sales in his early days when he was 16, wanted to be a lawyer. And he was successful. And he found selling 2 tiers of encyclopedias as he implemented that into the watchtowers. Tier 1 is you go to heaven, Tier 2 you have paradise earth. So it was a 2-tier system, just like when he sold encyclopedias. And when they started the 2-tier system where you have an earthly hope, Rutherford brought that in, Russell didn't. He found that his sales just escalated, like people just flocked in because people didn't want, it was something new, it was something different. And then you throw a few end times things in there and man, you're going to sell books. Just sell books like crazy. They didn't have internet or anything else, TV even. They didn't have anything back then. And these guys were cutting edge. They drive up and down the streets with loudspeakers announcing the end's coming and stuff like that, and people would swarm into their meetings and buy their books. It was great sales. And when the end didn't come, they just made new dates. And they're doing it to this very day. So if this is done consciously, it's a very, very sketchy place to be in these end times. Very sketchy place to be. And I'm glad that I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses, one of the Yahweh's Witnesses, like Lloyd Evans, like The Truth Hurts, like J.W. Watchtower, and so many others out there. Keep up the good work, you guys, and let's all just keep doing Yahweh's work and teaching people the real truth. Thanks again, and keep living your life with love.